first off, what do you see for 2024 as far as trends in the med spa industry?
Yeah, so big trends, and I'm all about it, is biostimulatories. So biostimulation, using your own growth factors, your own stem cells, exosomes, those type of treatments are really, really in right now. Under eye filler. People are always coming to me, you know, what can I do about the hollowness or the darkness? Again, how we're treating that now is a procedure called Easy Gel. It's fantastic because it's a rejuvenation, it's regenerative, and it is a biostimulatory. And we're drawing your blood, we're separating your stem cells and growth factors, we're putting it through a heating and cooling process and making a gel, a filler.
All right, what's up, everybody? My name is Leda Fazal. I am hosting the Hair in There podcast, and today we are going to welcome Angie Stanley.
Hi, guys.
And what we're going to talk about today is social media marketing, what trends are happening right now, what is out in the industry as far as beauty, and, you know, we're going to discuss about hair and there, right? So if you guys don't know me, my name is Leda Fazal. I own Tone Hair Salon in Raleigh, North Carolina. And let's get started. So, Angie, how long have you been in business now?
In Raleigh since 2017.
Okay, and before that, where were you at?
I was in New York.
Okay.
Practicing in New York. Was in the hospital scene for a while before I got into aesthetics, NICU and OB. And then kind of transitioned really organically into aesthetics.
I love that because first off, I didn't even say this. Angie's my personal go-to. Like, I don't trust anybody else in the world to touch my face.
Aww.
And Nora, actually, she works at Tone Hair Salon as well. And same.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're obsessed with Angie in the way that she it's a skill that a lot of injectors don't have, and a lot of people can mess up faces, right?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, it's popping up now on kind of every corner. So I think it even makes it a little more interesting, if you will, about where where you should go and where not. But I think it's just important to make sure that your injector has been injecting for a while, that you do your due diligence when you're looking for an injector. That's, look at their background, how long have they been doing things, look at their social media. Social media sometimes can be deceiving, right?
Absolutely.
So you have to be careful with that. So don't be afraid to ask questions. That's my big thing. Ask as many questions as you want, and if they don't want to answer your questions, that's kind of a red flag.
Absolutely. And I feel like what you said, everyone's popping up and they're like, oh, I can do Botox. And it's like, my OBGYN, my dentist. No, no, thank you. You can stick to my teeth or my vagina. And that's about it. You know what I mean?
Stay in your lane thing.
I want somebody that does what they do on a daily basis. But I think what makes you special is that you are an RN as well. And I have always had a big trust for RNs, nurses. My mom was a nurse. I know that they're the people that, to me, frankly, they're better than the doctors. I'm just going to say that.
Well, certain things, right? I mean, because doctors do doctor things sometimes. Nurses do a lot of different things. And I think that when they're in their niche, I think that's kind of where you should stay. I mean, I always said I don't want to go to the ER, if God forbid, and get an IV from a doctor, right? Because he's usually not doing the IVs. The nurses are. So I want my nurse to do it. Right. So yeah, I think people just have to, I think it's okay to branch out. I mean, I was in nursing for 20 years, NICU and OB. And so I think it's good to have backgrounds. And I think it's good to follow your passion. That's my big thing. If it's your passion, then hey, go for it.
Yep. And what I love about Angie is she doesn't overdo it anytime. She keeps you looking very natural. And I think that's something that I've had Botox before by other people, and I look ridiculous. Like, my eyebrows were up to my my scalp. I had to cut bangs. Like, I've been overfilled, and you don't want to get to that. So I feel like that's what I love about you is you keep it very real and very natural looking. But I guess if a client wants to go a little more extreme, you're probably willing to do it to a certain degree. But mostly, what I really want to know is you started your business in 2017. So how did you build?
So, yeah, I mean, Dr. Joe and I, Dr. Joe Hummel,
Which I love Dr. Joe.
Yeah, he's amazing. He and our partners, we kind of started this thing together, and it just was really organic. I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina in 2016, and I was set out to find an office space and set up shop. An aesthetics practice, and I was out looking for offices, and it was just kind of a God thing. I ran into somebody that owned a building, and he said, "Hey, what are you going to do? What do you want an office for?" Right? And I was like, "Well, because I'm going to start an aesthetics practice." He goes, "You need to meet my friend, Dr. Hummel, Dr. Joe. Everyone calls him Dr. Joe." And he said he's kind of getting into that space. He was doing wellness, which is amazing, and he was doing all of that before. And so we made an acquaintance, and we just kind of hit it off. We have a lot of the same background, ER too, and we had a lot of the same ethics, if you will, and the way we cared for our patients. And so we just kind of hit it off, and so we hit the ground running, just teaming up. And then we actually we were working for another facility at the time, kind of contracting out for them. And then he and I thought, we maybe need to set this thing up. It started kind of growing. So 2017, we took an office space in Briar Creek. It was he and I, and 3 rooms. That was it. Mm-hmm. So we kind of started that way. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to starve to death, right? Because nobody's going to come in that door. It's going to take forever. And it does take some time. And so here we are, 2024. We are built a brand new location 2 years ago in Village District.
Mm-hmm. Downtown Raleigh. It's downtown gorgeous.
And we went from the 2 of us to we now have 13 team members in Raleigh. We just built our second location in Johnson City, Tennessee. We just opened those doors last week. And we are building out a facility in Roseville right now for the Roseville folks.
You just give me chills. I love that.
So it's just kind of crazy how it just snowballed. But, I think that our mission was always to just take care of people and have a servant's heart. Mm-hmm. And I wanted people, when they came into my room, I wanted them to feel like they were my family. Mm-hmm. I treat them like they are my brother, sister, mother. And I think if you're just authentic and really care about people, I think that's key.
Absolutely. And would you say, how did you start getting people? Was it social media? Was it some other kind of advertising? Because a lot of businesses listen and, they want to know. This can relate to any business, hair, med spas, restaurants, like whatever.
I think the first thing to know is it's not easy. It looks easy. I think people look at that offices or people that are have built their practices and are successful, and they see this beautiful croissant, right? And that croissant looks so good and yummy, and they're like, "Oh, I can do that." But they didn't see what all went into the croissant, right? Absolutely. How do we make this croissant so beautiful? So I think that's something you need to think about. But I think also that it's doable. And when we first started with, as far as marketing, it was word of mouth. Now, I think social media has come a long way, especially during COVID, when we started seeing people having to really just kind of network on social media. And I think it was a good thing, really. That's when the social media for me really came into play. Before that, it was really word of mouth. We didn't advertise a ton. I'll just be honest. We didn't have the money to advertise a ton at first. So again, it was really just by treating people good, being good at your craft, and kind of letting people get out there and talk about you. Now, social media came into play for me, and when I kind of blew up on social media was during COVID, and it has helped a ton. And it was just me getting on there, educating folks, just being me, talking about procedures and what's in and what's out, and what's works for some and what doesn't work for others, because it's not a one shoe fits all. So for me, it was just word of mouth, and then trying to get on there and build up my social media, which is tough in the beginning because there's a lot of competition out there on social media. But I think important to say, just to keep at it. Don't give up. Keep posting, keep talking, keep being yourself, and don't give up.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people, their fear is like, well, I don't want to post it. It's not good enough. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. Like, I think the best way to describe it is like building a snowman. You know, when you're building that snowball, building it. If you stop, it melts. And then you have to start all over again. You're actually setting yourself back out. So just keep going. And
start somewhere, right? Start somewhere.
I mean, you gotta start somewhere. And that's what you had said earlier, where nobody sees like the behind the scenes of like how hard it was to even get to the point. You have like 80 something thousand on Instagram.
I think I've got 68,000, something like that.
And what's your Instagram handle?
It's Angela Williams, BSNRN.
All right. And we'll have that somewhere in the video, I'm sure.
Good plug.
And now, Kimberly, you work for Angie?
Yes. So I was brought on with Prime MD a couple months ago as their creative director.
Okay.
She rocks, by the way.
Thank you. Another good plug. I was brought on. My background is super eclectic. I spent the last 13 years in New York City. I originally was in fashion, then worked in the music industry, and came down here and dabbled into tech, which was not exciting at all whatsoever. So when the opportunity came up for Angie and I to collaborate, I definitely jumped at it. I see how amazing they are already, and I see how far they can go. And I'm extremely excited and feel very privileged to be a part of what we're going to become.
And what are some of the things that you do for Angie and Prime MD?
So I help out with all of our social media for the company, as well as helping out with Angie. I run all of our giveaways and promos.
Okay.
I update our website. I've created a e-commerce website for those who want to buy our products and not have to go in, or if they just want to stay at home and order their stuff. I help on, and a lot of the other things as well, onboarding our new estheticians, which is super exciting. We have a couple new great hands in the practice that have just been absolutely killing it. So I'm really kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to Prime. But as a former patient, I think what's great for me, and not former, I still am, but I get very different perspectives, right? And so I've come in kind of as a fresh set of eyes from, the outside in, and I'm able to kind of help us elevate that experience when it comes to our customer, because we really do want to stand out, and we really do feel like it's a family, and we really do care about our patients there.
Cool. And I think that's such a job that needs to happen in a business, right? So I think a lot of people on social media, sometimes they will get outside sources to start doing their social media. And I don't feel like that actually works. Do you?
No, I don't. Because I think, and you know this, when you start a business, you're kind of jack of all trades, right? I mean, you're doing everything.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, I was answering the phone, scheduling my own patients, seeing patients, checking them out, and running my social media. And I think it's important to say, too, that I still pretty much run my social media. I post all my stories. Kimberly and Madison help me a ton in the feed because it's a lot to keep up with, but it's, it's my business now.
Right.
And I think that you have to maintain control of it, because if not, it's not going to be you anymore. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I've seen businesses where they hire out and it doesn't look right, doesn't feel right.
I think it loses its authenticity, right?
Yes.
And kind of Angie touched on at the beginning when she said, social media can be deceiving, right? When you have control, you can put out there, right? And that's not necessarily the procedures you're doing or your before and afters, and you can make you look any kind of way that you want. Whereas when you have someone who's authentic, actually putting out their own material, it's so much more relatable. You feel so much more comfortable. I mean, we get DMs after DMs of people just saying, hey, saw this post, we have these questions, can we call in? And I will personally, or Angie or one of the girls, we will personally reach out to you and you know, help you any way that you can to get you into the door to understand kind of where we're at. And if you need help, we're here to help facilitate it any way possible.
Yeah, that's a good point because I read, believe it or not, guys, I read all my DMs.
She does.
I read all of them. I want to know, you know, the people that I'm communicating with. And so I think that makes it, you know, a little different too, and important for you to kind of, sometimes it can get out of hand, but I take the time to read it. Now, don't be deceived. It's time consuming. It's like a second job.
It is. Absolutely. And I think, you know, a lot of hairstylists say, oh, well, you're not just a hairstylist anymore. You're a photographer, a videographer, you're, you know,
A therapist.
everything. But it's the same for every single field, whether you own a med spa or you own a restaurant or, you know, you own a gym.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that is just part of it now. Social media is huge. And
It's huge.
In my last podcast, I was talking about how, you know, before social media, I had to hand out flyers and put them on cars. Like, and that took me hours to hit like 100 cars. Like now I can post and hit 1,000 people. Like, you know, it doesn't make sense not to post. So for anybody out there that's just listening to this and, you know, you own a business or you want to own a business, just know that it is part of life and you just have to make the time for it. Like, I don't really watch that much TV because as soon as I get home from work, I'm doing my second job. But the thing is, I love it. Like, I love what I do and I love doing the after as well. So to me, yes, sometimes it does feel like a job, but like it's what I got into. And I feel like you guys probably feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's definitely got to be your passion. And I hear people say, oh, well, you got to find a balance. Well, that's fine and dandy, but I don't know how much balance I have at times. I think for me, trying to find an outlet is where if I go on vacation, then that's where my creative juices start flowing, right? So it's not really that I'm going to just be off and shut down. That's not the way I'm built, really, because my mind is always going, and I think that that's part of being a good entrepreneur or a good business owner, that you're constantly thinking, how can you do things better or make things better for the people that work with you, right? But really getting creative in the space is super important, I think, because if I'm not injecting and I'm not doing what I do, I'm thinking about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like I'm always thinking about how I can do this better, how I can do that, or just educating myself on what's moving forward in the industry because it's always changing.
Yep. And I think something else for everybody listening, you know, if this isn't if you're not up for this, if you're like, look, I've always wanted to own something, whether it be a salon or, you know, med spa, whatever it is, if you're like, that's not for me, there is nothing wrong with working for somebody that is willing to do that. So I think a lot of, especially salon owners, get a bad rap. But if you find somebody awesome, it could be great because they're doing all that hard work because they love to do it and they want to do it and they want to see you build. And all you have to do is show up to work and do a great job.
Yeah,
so
totally true.
There are times where I'm like, gosh, if I ever moved, what would I do? Would I go out and run my own thing again? Or would I go find a commission salon and work for them and be like, that's on you, babe. Like, I ain't doing it. When I get out, I clock out and I'm out.
I'm out.
You know, I feel like they're great sides because you may be like, oh, the salon owner makes so much more money. And then reality is like, yeah, of course, the owner makes more money. What do you want? Like, of course they do. But at the same time, they're doing the work 24/7. There really is no off, right?
No, you're not all.
Never.
For sure.
I'm fine with making more money, but less headache for me. You take care of the social media. I don't want to be dealing with this. So you can still make more money.
See, not everybody's cut out for it, or they just don't want to do it, right? I mean, they're busy doing other things.
Right. They have life and they want, you know, what they want to be with
balance.
their kids. And I have respect for them actually because they actually do balance life. And for me, I know I don't. Like, I sleep, dream, and think about this shit. Like,
Same. I can't turn it off. It's just like constantly going, you know.
We're like texting till like 1 a.m. most nights.
Like, stop, go to bed. She's like, no, I'm good.
All right. So I think we had our social media spiel here. I think we did pretty good. Let's talk about, and we're going to introduce Nora a lot more now because she's had some treatments. I've had some treatments. And
I've had a lot of treatments.
And Angie's been our girl. So first off, what do you see for 2024 as far as trends in the med spa industry?
Yeah, so big trends, and I'm all about it, is biostimulatories. So biostimulation, using your own growth factors, your own stem cells, exosomes, those type of treatments are really, really in right now. Under eye filler. People are always coming to me, what can I do about the hollowness or the darkness? Again, how we're treating that now is a procedure called Easy Gel. It's fantastic because it's a rejuvenation, it's regenerative, and it is a biostimulatory. And we're drawing your blood, we're separating your stem cells and growth factors, we're putting it through a heating and cooling process and making a gel, a filler in a sense. And it's organic, which people love. We're getting away, so what's out kind of, right? The overfilled, overstuffed, overplumped faces, the unnatural look or not looking like you anymore. And just those big, huge overfilled lips. It's just going out the door, which is not a bad thing really, right? I mean, I like a nice, juice, plumpy lip. Don't get me wrong.
But she will cut you off.
I will cut you off. She knows. I'm like, she'll come sit in my chair with those little eyes and go.
She has liporexia.
No. Yeah. I'm like, you are cut off. No. So I definitely say no. But the biostimulatory stuff, I mean, it's on fire right now.
Now, is that like PRP or PRF?
It is. It's anything that's regenerative.
Okay.
So it's anything using your own stem cells or your own growth factors or using exosomes, which are a derivative of stem cells, right? That's where it's usually umbilical. And it's so good because there's not all of the complications that can happen with dermal filler, right? When we put dermal filler under the under eye, which we do a lot, but lots of times we say no, and those patients don't have an alternative. And now you really do, because the Easy Gel is a fantastic way to rejuvenate the darkness, lighten it up there, plus fill in the concavities kind of. So when we get that hollowness there, we lose those fat pads as we get more mature, right? So we can actually use this to do all of that. And it's coming down the pipe really hot and heavy. I think there's going to be even more that's coming down the pipe as far as this goes.
At what age you can start doing this? Like, is there any age? Like?
I always say I'm not big on ages, right? I'm big on treat the cause. Okay. If there's a symptom, we're not going to treat the symptom. We're going to treat the cause. And what I tell my patients lots of the times is, it's not about age. It's about when you start to see the changes, right? When you start to see those changes. And I will tell you this: if you will jump on it when you start to see those changes, you will spend less time and less money, and you'll have better results. Because when someone sits in my chair and they're more mature and they haven't done anything, it's a lot more time to kind of turn the clock back, and it's more money, right? Yeah. If you do just a few little things throughout a year, let's just say a year, and you do a couple things, you can really ward off doing a whole bunch of things later.
But you know how sometimes they think, oh, it's too early. It's like they think you're young sometimes. But like for me, I wish they told me about Botox as a prevention when I was in my early, like 24, 25. So I wouldn't do as much I'm doing now.
Right.
So
that's
think
right.
This is like people, they get it wrong about when to start. It's like whenever. Like it's a prevention before, like
it's prevention.
Yeah, and then you keep up maintaining.
Yeah, so, a lot of this is prevention. Yeah. Having your laser once a year or microneedling is prevention, right? Because we start losing collagen at such a young age, and then it just every year is a snowball effect. It gets worse and worse. So again, I'm like, you know what? When you start to see those subtle changes coming on, when you first start noticing that line, right? That line, those dramatic lines we make every day, when you start seeing that etched in, and that may be 20 for some and 30 for others. Genetics plays a huge role in what we're in, in how we age. So it's different for everybody. So I'm always like, when you see those signs start to come in, that's when we want to jump on top of it.
So I want to get your thoughts on this because as a kid, I'm 43. As a kid, I used soap and water. Like I didn't have all this stuff, right? And now you see 10-year-olds going to Sephora and getting all these products, right?
Right.
Which, I mean, I do like to talk about this, about like fragrance-free. As much as I get Botox, I am also a fragrance-free, like clean girl beauty type person. What do you think it's going to look like for these girls in 10, 15, 20 years? They're loading up with all this stuff. Do you think it's not really doing anything anyway? Or do you think it's going to age them? Do you think it's going to, what are your thoughts?
Golly, that's
with all this product that these 10-year-olds are using right now.
Yeah, that's
like
a
they
tough
have skin
one.
routines. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, and I
don't even
think
have a
that
skin
first
routine.
off, we've ranked our youngins on social media, right? So we have to be careful with that. And I think we have to be careful what we put out there. But I think that first off, it's not doing anything. So mom or dad or whomever's paying for this stuff
It's waste, right?
is you might as well, put toilet water on your face as far as I'm concerned, because it's not doing anything, right? Because it can't penetrate the dermis. It's not the right molecular size. Your skin's a barrier. It's protecting us against everything. So you have to have medical grade product to be able to penetrate the dermis where we need the work. That may smell good. And I think it's a fad. Like everything else that kind of comes and goes, I'm hoping.
I just hate that it's so much chemicals on these kids' faces.
Oh yeah, well I mean
if
it's
like not benefiting, if it's not doing anything, then they're literally just putting chemicals on their face.
Right.
So I hope y'all youngins are watching this because
I think the only thing they need is sunscreen. Like people, like this is something I wish they told me. Like sunscreen is like we have to have the habit. Like this is what I'm gonna teach my kids at younger age. But anything other than that, like before 16, I think you don't need it.
right.
Like your skin is like not like, what do you call it? Like it's not matured.
skin.
Yeah, it's baby skin.
It's
like,
baby skin. You don't need it.
Yeah.
No. Get them a little hydrating mask or something.
Yeah.
If they want to have a mommy and me moment in the evenings, get a little eye mask or a little hydrating mask that
Or freeze a cucumber, like you could
do something like that.
cucumber treatments.
And Nora, you've got little girls. What are they? What are they saying? I'm interested. Are they asking for anything
No,
yet?
not yet, because they're 9 and 6. But I'm sure, like eventually, I have one of my clients. Her daughter is 11, 12. There is a trend in TikTok.
Yeah, there's a
something
trend.
about
Social
like,
media, right?
which I never
Social
heard
media.
of. Like they say they want to copy, they want to try it. So, but of course,
I
they
already know Alana's gonna be
like.
Alana's gonna be going right to her. I don't need that. I need the Botox.
Yeah.
She could be 10.
It's preventative. It's preventative.
Yeah, it's okay.
I was like, I'm going to my face, and she's like, she's the one that does the needles for me. Yeah, she's.
She's the one that does the needles.
And you're like, yes, actually, yes, she is.
So could we talk about some downtime? So
Yeah.
Nora came in a few months ago. What treatment did you get?
The laser, you remember, like
Was it the IPL or the BBL, right? For the
something
spots,
that
for the
does
brown
like-
spots?
Yeah, for the hyperpigmentation.
She literally looked like a burn victim. And we were all scared for her. Even though we trust Angie, we're like, no, Angie knows what she's doing. We were about to start a GoFundMe for Nora to be like, does she need a face treatment?
Angie's going off the rails.
But I would think like trust the what do you call it? The
process.
Trust, because like Angie, she knows what she's doing, and there's always, it's not gonna look good in the second day, especially laser treatment. It's like takes at least a week or so
Yeah.
to start.
Yeah.
So don't be scared. It looks scary. Like I remember, like it looks like a burn. Like it was like it.
I mean,
gets
your
dark and-
face was like falling apart. I was like, oh my
it
God.
feels. So trust the process. Don't be scared to try, and especially if you're going to a person that they know what they're doing. So
And I think people forget it's medicine.
Yeah.
This is medicine, folks. It's medicine. It's medical procedures that we're doing, and you're going to have downtime.
Yeah.
So lots of times the downtime and the way it looks predicts the outcome. We want that inflammatory response. We want the body to say, oh my goodness, we've got all these micro injuries in the skin. We're going to send elastin and collagen to heal it. So I think it's important to be very realistic in consultations, to set realistic expectations. So if you're going to a provider, they should be setting very clear expectations for you. How long are you going to have downtime? What's it going to look like? And something that we are just now starting, which I think is fantastic, is called a buddy system.
Oh yeah.
And we're
so
going to
cool.
pair you up with a buddy that is willing to talk about their procedure and their process, their downtime, and kind of hold your hand through the process. Because I think that we're always there for folks. I mean, people have my personal number, so that's fine. But I think it's good to have somebody that's kind of been through it. So the buddy system, I think, is really going to work out really well because they can talk to them before, during, and after.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I mean, I had a major surgery, a breast reduction, just a year ago almost. And I would have loved a buddy because, I didn't know what I was going to go through.
Right.
I didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't know what it was going to heal like. I didn't know anything. So I had to go in blindly, which, sucks. But I think a buddy system's awesome.
Yeah.
And you had that same treatment, Kimberly?
So I did a very invasive CO2, so slightly different. And I actually had a buddy. Her name is Allison, or as I call her, Skin Mother, because if it weren't for her, I would have never probably gotten the procedure. And we were actually doing some research not too long ago, and they said 80% of why clients don't go through with these kind of procedures is anxiety and downtime.
Yeah.
Right. And so having her and watching her, she actually got it done and was working full time through her recovery, really gave me a lot of confidence and also really made me believe because of how amazing she looked. So when I went through mine, I thought I had an idea of what it was going to be like recovering. I was very wrong. So, it was amazing to have someone to send photos to every day. Recovery on the skin, again, is not a one size fit all. So some products that were working for, me didn't work for her, and some that didn't work for her ended up helping me out. And so again, I think being really realistic in the goals and really understanding and having education is key because these are, again, it's a wound to your skin, right? You're going to have to recover and it's going to take time. And I think having a buddy and knowing that it's going to take more than a hot minute to be back to normal. I mean, I'm lucky I'm even here. Thank God for Sephora and MAC and all the things I can put on my face because I still look a little burn victim-y. But I think it's the procedures are great and the outcome is great. It's just the journey and trust the process and to have someone to help hold your hand and kind of say, hey, listen, I know you're in the depressed phase. Why did I do this? Is my face ever going to get back to normal? It will get there. It's going to take a second.
Yep. Yeah. And then some people choose to, Nora didn't care. Nora gave 0 Fs about going to work looking the way she did. And
she's one of my best patients. She's one of my best. She's like, I'm not calling Angie. It's fine. And she sends me a picture and I'm like, you should call her.
Yeah. I thought Angie was punking me the whole week too of my first recovery because she was making me go out and do all these errands for Prime. And I'm like, what are you doing what kind of psychological warfare are you playing? And I was like, well, I guess if I'm going to try and be confident, this is going to be the moment. And
you just got to tell people you just had a laser. It's no big deal.
Nobody's asking. You're just getting the looks.
You're a walking advertisement.
Yeah. Right. They're for a burn clinic.
You should have t-shirts.
Look at you now.
I know, seriously, right?
But maybe t-shirts for your clients. I just got COT laser treatment. And then this way people don't ask.
That's true. I'm brush my face.
I'm going to see it too. And just have your original face on there so they know at one point this isn't what you look like.
But when I did it, you remember how the clients, they didn't ask. I would be
because they were scared.
Because they were scared to ask.
But they usually don't ask.
No. I'm telling you. Me and Ashley,
she's we don't want to put pressure.
Scared. She said we got private emails about it.
Because they don't know really. Yeah. So they don't want to offend you too. They're probably I'm not saying a word.
We had group chats. We were like,
I don't know what these chicks had done.
But to Angie's credit, the fact that I was working through my recovery as well, I can't tell you how many times she pulled me into a room for a patient who was thinking of having CO2 to talk about it.
Right.
And I happily gave them my Instagram handle or phone number and said, look, if this is something you're interested in, but you're kind of not sure, like I'm more than happy, I think, to help. It's the best way to kind of get back on that.
How many days ago did you get the treatment?
This Friday will be 2 weeks.
Okay. And you look amazing.
Yeah, and I think it's important to, you got to know your client, right? When you do anything you do in this industry, you got to know them. And there's alternatives. If people can't have downtime, you can go a lot slower. You don't have to do that full on ablative treatment. You can break it up into 2 or 3 different sessions where you've only got a day or 2 of downtime. So I think it's about, knowing your client too and what they need, listening to what they need, and if they're scared, talking about alternatives.
Cool. Can you touch on the subject of Botox, right? I know I've heard that some places will water down their Botox. Have you ever heard of anybody doing that?
Well, I mean, so when we get these products, most of them are flash frozen on the bottom, right? And we have to reconstitute them. It's just how the medication works. And remember, again, it's medication, right? So when it's in someone's hands, you better make sure they know what they're doing with this. But so we have to reconstitute this, which means we have to turn it into a liquid. And there are no like policing of it, right? People can add as much liquid as they want, or they can, they can dilute it however they want. So I'm always saying, be wary. If you hear something that's too good to be true, like Botox is $7 a unit, $8 at that point, we're losing money. I know what it costs. So there's 2 reasons that's happening. One, they've got counterfeit product.
Oh.
Or they're diluting it so much, it's only going to last you. Lots of times people will come to me that's had that done, and they're like, but it only lasted, I went over here and it was $7 a unit. It only lasted me, though, like 3 or 4 weeks. Okay, bingo, right? So they diluted it. I'm not saying everybody does that, and most people are not doing that. But if you hear of that, it can be that they've either diluted it too much to make it go further, right? And the vial goes further, or it's a counterfeit. And believe it or not, there is a lot of counterfeit product out there right now. Okay. So you do have to be careful. If you hear of it, I know that we could never offer it for that price because we would be losing money as a business. So just be careful because it does happen. It's like, in any other industry.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally.
And what's the difference between Botox and Dysport? Are they the same?
So I get this question all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of what we call them is neuromodulators, right? Because they are going to relax wrinkles. And there are several on the market now. And we carry almost all of them in the office. So when they come to us again, they're like 3 or 4 cans of Coke, right? So let's say we've got Botox, Dysport, and Xemin. They're like 3 cans of Coke when I get them. They're all the same. And I have to reconstitute them. So depending on the reconstitution, they pretty much act the same. I think there was a study a couple of years ago that really wanted to measure after we reconstituted them how much active protein was in there. And Dysport won that. Botox came in second, Xemin came in third. And allegedly. So anyway, so that tells us that maybe one will last a little longer than the other.
Okay.
So really they're basically the same. It's kind of whose hands they're in and which product you're using as far as longevity and things like that.
How often should someone get Botox? I know it probably differs.
It differs, but the FDA approval is 90 days, right? You can't have it or should not have it any sooner than 90 days. Typically, your tox is going to last 3 to 4 months. And again, that depends on dose. Dose equals duration, what we're trying to treat, right? If you work out a lot, your metabolism is high, it can burn it off really fast. And I usually tell my folks, switch it up every 2 or 3 times when you go to get your tox, because that way your body won't get used to one thing and it won't really learn how to metabolize it so quickly.
Meaning switch up like the
Brands.
The brands. Got
Yeah,
it. Okay.
I think that's a really good idea to do, because
Okay.
there is some evidence out there that suggests that if you do that, then your body is not getting so used to one thing, because you can get resistant to one or the other because your body learns how to metabolize it. It wants to get rid of it, right? So
Okay. And right now, what service is the best bang for your buck?
oh, golly, girl. I love them all. I love them all. The bang for your buck. So I always say, if you're going to invest your money in getting the toxins, right, your Botox, your fillers, if you're going to
threads.
get those things, yeah.
What?
PDO threads.
PDO threads.
Yeah.
Then you really need to take care of your skin, because I think people don't think about that. It's just like brushing your teeth. If you go to the dentist, and they clean your teeth and you go home and you don't brush them, they're not going to look too good, right? So a lot of it is about home care. So if you're going to put the money into getting the treatments, do the skincare research, get on medical grade skincare, use it at home, be diligent about it, and then have those laser treatments. Really, the lasers are the gold standards right now. That's what's going to keep your foundation, the collagen. We've got to have it. So I always say the foundation is the house, right? Everything else inside is decoration. So we've got to keep that foundation, and we do that by stimulating collagen with lasers, microneedling, those type of things. Because without that, you're going to lose that foundation.
Is there any skin type that shouldn't do any lasers?
You have to be careful. Now, lasers have come a very long way. We have a couple of lasers that now treat all skin types, which we really love. So it's really depending on where you go, what lasers you're using. Of
Will
course,
they be going to you?
yeah. So we have.
We're not speaking for anybody else. We're talking about Angie at Prime MD.
Well, we
she's the
have
best.
some lasers that can treat all skin types, and we're advancing every day. We have to be more careful in skin types 4, 5, and 6. We have to pre-treat to get their skin ready for the treatment.
4, 5, and 6
Is the skin type. So there's a Fitzpatrick scale, which tells us, 1, 2, 3. I'm probably a 2 or a 3. You and Nora,
4, 5.
4s for sure.
Okay.
Not 5s, but 4s for sure.
Talking about laser, before Angie, they used to tell me, oh, you're like darker, like it's the darker the harder, like they're scared to do your skin because it may be like it's may
And you
your
do.
skin
You have to
dark.
be super careful.
So with Angie, I had no issues. Like she was not like she has the newest laser machine, and there's no issue. Like she's not scared to do it, and she has the right machines to do it. So
And
you
the
have
free
to be up to
treatment.
date. Like I think the older machines, they were not like up.
No.
You couldn't do it nowadays. Especially Angie, she's always up to date with the machines. Like she can do whatever. Like I'm talking about my experience because you know how much. I started with the hyperpigmentation.
Yeah.
And
The melasma.
Yeah, the melasma, it was bad.
Yeah.
And Angie took care of it.
Wow. Well, everybody that's listening, she's in Raleigh, North Carolina. She's worth a flight, okay? Like, for real. I mean, we have people that fly in to see us at the salon. So, especially with your face, any procedures like that, it's not like you're getting it every day. But she's worth a flight out to see. That's for sure.
guys.
I mean, I love you, Angie. You know that. I mean, how long have we been seeing
Been
Angie?
friends a long time.
Minimum 5 years. Minimum.
Minimum 5 years.
My favorite procedure is the lip flip. I may not be
Rita
able to
loves
talk
the
right
lip
for a
flip.
little while, but I love the lip flip. I love it because she just puts it right here, and then you got the juicy lip. Oof.
That's a good intro to lip filler, right? I mean, I always tell people they're on the fence about getting lip filler or
Yeah, get the
lip flip.
Yes, it's a great
because
intro for sure.
It's a great intro. And it may be all you need.
Yeah,
Maybe all
I
you
love
ever
it.
want. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. We get it.
And make sure your injector doesn't look crazy because I think that you can really tell
Oh my
about
gosh.
how you're going to look.
Yes.
Right? If just take a look at your injector, you can pretty much tell how
Well,
you're
you
going to look.
also teach injectors, right? Because
I do.
that's something else that I think everybody should know. Angie knows like the map of your muscles and skin and whatever, and knowing where you inject affects another area. And it's very, very precise. And that's why I say, if you don't go to an injector that really knows what they're doing, they can mess you up for a little while. I mean, I got messed up so bad, I had to cut bangs because, like I said, my eyebrows were up here and it was not a good look. And my eyes looked dead. Like I was taking pictures and I looked at the pictures and I was like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Like I was smiling, but my face wasn't basically. And I was like, this sucks. So I will never, ever make that mistake again. But can you tell us about you teaching others?
Yeah, so I actually train for several of the pharmaceutical companies that are out there. I train for Galderma. I am a top 1% provider for them in the nation. And I train for Revanesse, which is another filler company. I also train for the renovation threads, the PDO threads that we have internationally and within the U.S. So that took a long time to get there, but I'm very proud of that. So yeah, I think education is so important, right? If you want to do this, I think it's amazing, but I think you need to get the education behind you first. And I'm not a gatekeeper. I teach people in my backyard here. It's community over competition.
Not really her backyard.
Always. Not really the backyard.
I'm just
She has a great backyard, though.
Like, the backyard, like, hey, everybody who wants to inject.
People knocking on my door going, you train your backyard?
Wait, what? Hold on. I heard on this podcast that I can come to your backyard.
Get a free burger, Botox and burgers.
Botox and burgers.
I think we have something here. I'm sorry.
Sign up for that, though.
Hey, I would too.
Yes.
would
why is
so
nobody
I'm
saying that?
trademarking that as soon as we get off this
Okay.
podcast. Everyone who's listening.
Really, you shouldn't drink alcohol with the Botox because everybody does Botox and bubblies, but really,
No, the burgers are
It's all
sad.
about the bruising, I mean, that's really about all it's about. Listen, people are like, I'll get a bruise. I'm going to have a glass of champagne.
It's like it's been a
That's
rough
good.
day.
That was good, Kimberly.
All right. Any closing statements here? Anything?
Oh, I
that-
just want to thank you, Leda.
For
I love
sure.
you to pieces. You know that.
I love you too.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Nora and Kimberly, thank you guys. I love you two to pieces too.
Love you.
Well, I thought I would end this with some injections.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what is this?
What
Oh,
flavor
dear.
are those?
What is this?
Are these shots? Literally?
Chocolate shot.
Chocolate shots.
Oh my gosh, how fun.
I have not tried
Am I
this.
gonna break a nail getting this open? How'd you get yours open, Kimberly?
I took my nails off. I took a break.
Shotsky. Is that what they? A
Shotsky?
Shotsky in here.
This is better than Bravo. Come on.
Those are shots.
Oh, you are?
What's a shotsky?
You don't know what a Shotsky is?
It's when you put the shots on like
on a ski.
Oh, a shot.
And
like the
everybody-
brand.
Andy does in the clubhouse.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay.
You get the
Clearly, it looks like I've done this a lot before.
No, you're like knowing what all's going on here.
Oh,
I should have opened one before I did this.
it screws off a
Got
little
like
bit.
30 of them. I should have like.
I feel
Where'd you
this
get
for my
these?
kids. I'm like,
Amazon.
this is your needle.
Amazon.
Oh,
Who doesn't
my
love Amazon?
goodness. Right? I freaking everything's on Amazon.
Are we cheersing
Everything.
before our shot?
Yep.
Yeah.
So this one already started. I like it. She's like, I'm gonna get right into there.
Let's go.
All right.
Cheers! Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys. All right, here we go. Try to get in the mic.
Oh,
What? You're not. Mine's not coming out.
that is gonna sound. No.
Okay. It's not Botox, but
It's not Botox, but it's close. It's really chocolatey.
it's really
That's
chocolatey.
really good.
I think I just need half a syringe.
Oh. Give yourself a lip flip with the chocolate.
Yeah.
It's hard to come out.
I know. These were much easier when I was in college.
She's like, you have to suck
Nora
it.
knows how to do that well.
You're not allowed. You have lip filler.
That's what he said, Nora. I'm sorry.
You can't with your lip filler.
No,
Can't with the lip filler.
We're okay. I never could get my lid off, so
Are you gonna finish the whole thing, Leda? You're almost done. Halfway.
she's got it going.
I could push it harder. Yeah.
Mine's just on its own now.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to stop.
Chocolate filler.
Chocolate filler.
Did you not open yours?
I can't get the lid off.
No, get the top.
It won't
Here.
come off.
I got it. Look, she's trying to act like it won't
I
come
know.
off.
She's like, I'm really
really not.
calories.
That's it.
Oh, I was trying to pull it off. Did it screw?
It screws.
Okay, now push
Now you
down
gotta
on
push.
it. It's
Injector.
a needle, but it's an injector.
You're the expert.
Yeah.
Okay, I inject this way, guys.
So you just do it like a shotgun
Not this
shot.
way. I'm not a dentist.
It's a Novocaine shot. I mean, they're doing Botox anyway, so it's kind of the same with dentists.
We have to have the injector be able to inject herself.
Okay.
Okay, that's really good. Is it just chocolate?
I think so.
Oh, it's a chocolate shot. I thought it was really
You
like
should
a
give
shot.
away
I
for
thought there was
your
liquor in it.
clients.
I guess you can buy it on Amazon if there was.
We can brand them. Prime MD
Yeah.
chocolate shots.
And giveaways.
All right. Well, thank you, Angie. Thank you,
baby.
Kimberly.
Thank you so much for having us. I'm
Thank
scared
you,
to
guys.
smile because I don't know what the chocolate is.
Same. I'm like,
We should put it on our teeth and smell
Or
it.
not. No, let's not do that.
Angie, go with the extreme.
Yeah.
Well, you guys make sure you're following Angie at Prime MD, and we'll talk again.
Bye, guys.
Bye.